Hey everybody, welcome back to Flex Volleyball. In this video, we're going to go over the 6-2 rotation. Now, with a 6-2, what it actually means is, so the 6 stands for you end up having 6 players ending up playing as a front row attacker total, and then you have 2 players that are your setters. Now, with the 6-2, you are going to be having your setter set from the back right position. Okay, so here we have our lineup. So zone 1, which is going to be your server section, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Okay, so we have our R2. So that's our right side or opposite of the setter. So if you hear somebody say oppo or opposite, they're referring to the right side player. Okay, but right now we're just saying that's the right side player. Then we are going to have our first outside hitter. Okay, and then they're in the front row, so it's outside hitter number 1. Then we have our first middle, so middle number 1. Then we have our right side player who is in the front row, so they're our first attacker, so we're going to refer to them as right side or opposite number 1. Then we have our second outside player who is in the back row, and then we have our second middle player who is in the back row. Now, this lineup that we have here, this is how you have to rotate, and you have to stay in this order when you are playing. So whenever you side out and you rotate, you always stay in the order that your initial lineup is in. Okay, but if you are running a 6-2, that means that you have set positions. So we want our outside hitters to always end up playing on the outside. We want our right side players always ending up playing on the right side, even though in the rotation order, they are not in that position. So you have to stay in this position until the ball is contacted from the serve. So whether you're receiving the serve or your team is actually serving the ball. Once that ball is contacted by the server, these players are now able to move within the front row or the back row. Okay, so front row players can only switch sides if they're in the front row. So front row has to stay in front row, back row has to stay in back row. So we can't have this outside back row player switch after the contact of the serve and go into the front row. Okay, that would be an illegal move. So all front row players in the rotation have to stay front row. All back row players have to stay back row. Now, in this rotation here, since we're running a 6-2, we want this right side player to be the designated setter. So we're going to flip that over. Okay, so we have our first setter right there, and then we have our opposite of the setter, which is that other right side player. Okay, so we do not want them to pass the ball if we are receiving a serve. So we need to get them out of the way. But we need to make sure that all the front row players stay in front of our back row players. Now you see I have arrows drawn on each one of these players. And when we are in a rotation, we need to make sure that we do not cross over anybody who's directly behind or directly in front of us, or cross over someone who is to the left or to the right of us. Okay, everybody else on the court doesn't matter, so there's no diagonal arrow. So for this position, we have a player who's directly behind and a player who is on the right side. So those are the only 2 players that they have to pay attention to. These players don't matter to them, so they can cross over left, right, or forward to back. So can't go behind this person, can't go to the right of this person. Okay, and then same with all of them. So here we have someone in the front, can't go in front of that person. Someone to the right, we can't go to the right of that person. And someone to the left, so we can't go to the left of that person. And that's how it is with each individual player. So let's start with us having the serve. So we are going to serve the ball to the opposing team. So that means our setter number 1 is going to be the server. So they are coming off court. Okay, and when we have a server that is off the court, then we don't need to worry about crossing over them at all. So what we're going to do, we are not going to shift these players because the middle is in the middle and the outside is on the left side, which is where they want to be. So these players are the ones that want to switch. So we're going to stack them up on each other right here. as long as they don't cross over that middle before the ball is contacted. So ball is contacted, that setter, that server comes onto the court, and then these two are now free to switch over and get into their home positions, play defense. Then the ball gets hit over, they're going to drop back to hit, and then this setter moves forward as long as they don't have to dig in attack. Then we'd set and then attack. Now let's set it up to receive the serve. So the opposing team is going to serve the ball to our team. Okay, so we're trying to get rid, or we're trying to get this setter out of a position of passing. So there's two things that we can do. One is we can drop this player back right here, and as long as they don't go behind the player that was directly behind them, which is the setter, and they don't go to the left of this player, they're going to be okay. So then these three players are now your primary passers. The ball is served, boom, contact, setter runs up to the front, okay, to set. These two players are dropping back to hit, and then this player, after either they pass or one of these people pass, they're actually going to come off to this side, and then we're going to run attack options here. Ball goes over the net. Now we're going to switch to what's called our home positions. So we want our outsides to be on the left side of the court, our right sides to be on the right side, and our middles to be in the middle. Okay, so for the back row, everybody is in the position that they want to be in. Front row is not. So we'd have middle would stay, and then right side and outside would switch spots, and then we'd continue playing it. So as long as the ball is in play, we would be able to play like this. Okay, now let's say that there's a side out, or let's say we lose the point and we're receiving the ball again. Okay, then we'd have to go back to our original lineup order, okay, which is the right side, outside, middle, right side, outside, middle. Okay, so we're back to this. Okay, now a second option, if we are receiving a serve, instead of having this player drop back to be the third passer, 1, 2, 3, we can actually have them come up, have the setter, let me flip this back over. Okay, that setter will stack up on top of the outside player at the net, and then these two will shift over, and as long as, so this is the order, okay, so as long as these two people don't cross each other, so the middle two doesn't go on the right side of our setter, then we're fine. And as long as the setter does not go in front of the outside hitter, we're fine. All these other players don't matter to these people. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this other right side player back, and then they'll be the third passing option. Now this player, technically this is the person who's directly behind them. This is the person right on the side of them. So those are the two people that they have to worry about. Okay, so we'll drop them, scoot over. This player doesn't cross over the setter. Setter doesn't go in front of that front row outside. And we're going to drop the right side player back. And now we cannot have them drop behind this outside two player. And they cannot go to the side of the middle front row player right there. Okay, so now we have three passing options. So we'd pass the ball. The setter would be setting up to set, and then the outside player would actually come back right here, get ready to hit. The middle would be here, and then this right side would come over here to hit as an outside, so a left side attack first. They would run their attack options. We hit the ball goes over, then we would all want to try to get into our home positions. These two players would then switch over to their spots, so right side and left side, our outside player. And then we would continue playing offense and defense from there. We need to get back into our rotation order, so our lineup order, which would be right here. So we win the ball again, so now we all have to rotate. So we're going to come back. Okay. So now we have players who are in the position they want to be in. The only person is this outside hitter. They're on the left side. That's where they want to be. So everyone else is going to be moving around. Okay, so this player, since we just sided out and rotated, this would be our server. So they are going to back up. They are off the court, so we don't need to worry about them. This is our setter who wants to be on the right side. They can just go over to the right side, get into their home position, because again, this player is off court serving, so we don't need to worry about them. And then our middle can then come over here into their home position, which is in the middle of the court. Okay, now we have right here, our middle is not where they want to be, and our right side is not where they want to be. Typically, what you want to do is the middle is going to stack up where they want to be, right in the middle, when we are serving the ball. So when we receive the ball, this isn't the case. But when we are serving, so this person right here is serving the ball over, we want that middle to post up on the net and be ready to block any overpasses, or if the setter attempts to dump, they're in a position to try to stop that dump attack. So our right side comes off just a little bit and is behind our middle blocker. Ball is contacted from that serve. Okay, this server is going to just immediately go to their home position over there, and then this right side player moves to their home position. Okay, so again, that's after the contact of the serve. Okay, now everyone is where they want to be, and we're all hitting and blocking and defending from the positions, from our home positions. Okay, so that's how we would do that if we are serving the ball. Now, let's get back into our rotation. Okay. Okay, so it should always be right side, outside, middle, right side, outside, middle. And then this can change, the order can change depending on how your coach wants to set it up. This is how I normally do it. Okay, all right, so here's our rotation order, and we don't want our setter to pass the ball. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop it forward. So we have these two people to the side that they can't cross over, and one person that's in front of them that they can't go in front of. So we're gonna bring them forward here. Typically, you want to bring them to the right so that they're closer to the position that we want to pass it from. And we're going to bring this player over, making sure that we do not go over and cross them over onto the right side. And we're going to drop this front row player back, which in the rotation, this is the person in front of them, and then this is the person to the side of them. So we'll drop them back, and as long as this person doesn't go behind them and doesn't cross over them, we're still technically in our rotation order. Front row players in front row, back row players in back row. Okay, and then ball is served, it's contacted. Oh, this person should actually probably be right there getting ready to hit. Okay, ball is served, now we can move, the ball is passed. This player, we're gonna move here just a little bit, so we're in the setter position, getting ready to hit, getting ready to hit. This person would come over here and get ready to hit. Okay, they would run their attack options there. We hit the ball over, and now we want to get into home positions. So this person would then come over here. Our setter would come to its right back. These players would then switch over, and this person was already in the position they wanted to be in. Okay, so that's how that would work there. Now, let's say we got the side out. Okay, so we were just in rotation 2. Okay, so right side, right side, outside, middle, right side, outside, middle. Okay, so here we are right here. Let's rotate. Okay, so everybody moves over. Okay, so this is rotation 3. So rotation 1, setters here. Rotation 3, setters here. So rotation 1, rotation 2, setters here. Rotation 3, setter is here. Okay, so we just got a side out. So now we're serving. This player's off the court. These two players are opposite of where they want to be. So we can just have them stack up right here. Okay, and then again, we're serving the ball. So the middle is just going to push over to the middle, getting ready for any overpasses. Okay, right side is where they want to be, so we don't need to move them. Then outside is going to want to switch. Okay, so again, this player's off the court. Don't need to worry about them. They serve the ball. They'll go directly to their spot. These two players will move on that contact. We are now in the positions we want to be in. And then this outside hitter will then transition over to their outside position. And then we would run our defense and offense from there. Okay. All right. So let's say we lose the point. Now we got to get back into rotation 3. Okay. So setter should be there. So there's our opposite of the setter, or right side. Okay. So right side, outside, middle, right side, outside, and middle. Okay. So again, we don't want that setter to receive a ball. So we're going to stack them up front here. We can slide these players over as long as these two don't cross over each other. and as long as that setter doesn't go in front of the middle, okay? And then we're going to drop this player back. They can't go to the side of that player, and they can't go behind this player, so they'll scoot over. As long as they stay in front of this player and don't cross that one, we're still good, okay? Now, this is the simpler way to do it, and then this player just hits middle first. You will run across sometimes they'll actually want to stack, do a three-man stack right here, so that when the ball is served, setter's going to run over here, outside's going to go to their spot, and middle's going to go to their spot to hit, and then this right side player would come up and hit that right side, okay? So that is an option, okay? The easiest move is to just have the middle hit the outside first, outside hit middle first, and right side hit that right side. So that's what we're going to do here, okay? So ball is served, okay? This player is going to try to run across in front here to get to the setter's position, and then we're going to, these two are going to hit, and then this one's going to hit the 5 or the C position. Okay, we hit the ball, it goes over. Everybody needs to get to their home position, so these two people would move. Middle would come to middle, outside would come to outside, and then these two people were already in their positions, so we're good. Okay, all right, let's go back into the rotation. Okay, so right side, outside, and middle. Those should be switched. Right side, outside, middle. Right side, outside, middle. Okay, so now we would go into rotation 4. So we all do a side out. Everybody rotates. So now that setter number 1 is now in the front row, and the opposite right side is in the back row. So these two would then switch. This now becomes our right side opposite number 2, and then this becomes our setter number 2. And you might do a substitution at this point to get a new setter in and a new front row player. Okay. All right. So once that's done, you just basically do the same thing. You're going to do 1, 2, 3 once again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And remember, stay strong, stay consistent, stay safe, and above all else, stay out of the net.